The middle class are facing a new financial crisis, while the big banks and the big corporations are doing better than they've ever before, and they seem to have the best economy in their lives, while we middle class people are suffering right now. The Biden administration have released a new billionaire tax plan, which I will outline does not work. Just to tell you what it is, households with over $100 million would pay a 20% tax rate, not only on income, but unrealized gains, such as their stocks. Unrealized is a key word. So what is there to gain? If you add up the top billionaires in the United States, we have $250 billion that are owed by these billionaires. Now, I'm going to round this number up to 250 billion, because it's a round number that takes into account other billionaires and millionaires who are not on this list. Now, how much is $250 billion? Well, let's find out, okay? In 2021, the government spent $6.8 trillion, which is 27 times greater than 250 billion. If you divide 6.8 by 365, the days there are in a year, that's $19 billion spent a day. It would take 13 days to get rid of 250 billion. But James, maybe the goal is just to reduce the deficit, and we should just look at the deficit instead. Okay, well, the deficit in 2021 was $2.8 trillion, and if you were to pay that off, 9% of the deficit for this year would be reduced. Now, I'm going to be kind and assume that with $250 billion, it can be earned not just this year, but next year and a year after that, and you know, the 250 billion could be a permanent revenue stream for the government. But what's the problem? Well, you may have noticed that these government spending numbers, they're high because 2021 was a COVID pandemic year, which it wasn't really a pandemic, it was a scandemic. But it's precisely because of a pandemic that these stocks are as high as they are. If a pandemic didn't happen, then all of these the stocks of the billionaires and the big banks, they wouldn't be as high as they are. And so the $250 billion number is a massive gross overestimate in the long term. What are other problems? Well, to pay for the tax, billionaires would have to liquidate large amounts of their stock, which would disrupt the stock market. And there was a time when Mark Zuckerberg wanted to have $1 billion in cash, so he liquidated some stock on Facebook. And many investors were very concerned about this. They were not happy because, you know, why is Elon Musk selling the stock? Is he no longer confident in Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg, sorry. And also politicians like Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, they love their precious stock market. They would not allow this bill to happen. And government even if the government had this money, it wouldn't benefit the middle class because the government spending never works. Okay? If you were to divide the government spending by the amount of, you know, the 300 million people in the United States, it wouldn't benefit the middle class because the average person in the middle class has not received anything from the government. Has the government gone up to the average person and given them a fat stack of cash? No, they haven't. Oh, but wealth inequality is bad. We need the tax plan. Wealth inequality is natural. It's a natural phenomenon caused by markets in which some corporations are better than others at providing goods and services. Again, there's a reason why Amazon is a big corporation, because they produce the best goods and services, and they have Amazon Web Services, which is amazing for hosting web servers. It's really good, and yeah. And again, because Amazon Web Services is completely automated, even if there's no even if there's no exploitation coming from the workers, there's still the exploitation that comes from the machines, and Jeff Bezos would still be a billionaire who has 2 digits in the billions, and 80% of Nasdaq and S&P 500s 100 companies aren't even profitable. And so these people are rich not because of profit, but because of just rampant speculation in the markets. What are the other issues in the economy? Well, and these are the real issues, right? The real things that everyday people experience. Inflation is at 7%, but that's a lie, it's well above 7%. The middle class pay 40% of their income on mortgages and rent, and this is caused by the same means that has happened pre-2008. There's been rampant speculation in the housing markets. The Federal Reserve is to blame. The economy, even if it's good now, it would not be good later. The economy will collapse next year. We have the biggest bubbles in history. Oil is super expensive, thanks to us sanctioning and embargoing Russia. And again, it's not really right to interfere with the conflict in Ukraine. Again, I don't see other countries punishing the US when they invaded Libya and Syria and Iraq. The taxes will not help anyone. The taxes have no good impact on anyone's lives whatsoever. Is there anything good that the Biden government has done? Well, yeah, there is this $15,000 first-time home buyer tax credit, but that's actually quite libertarian, because tax credits are basically tax cuts, and tax cuts are massively libertarian. If you think about what these people on the left want, they want the centre-left. They want more taxes on the middle class in return for more government services. In other words, they want less economic freedom for the middle class. They want people to be more dependent on the government. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.